Good morning, this is Jack from Charting Markets, and this is the Premarket webinar for the morning of Monday, the 5th of May. My disclaimer, I do this for educational purposes only. I'm here to share my technical analysis with you. I hope you can take some of what I'm doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. I'm not here to issue trading signals. Right. Okay, looking at the bigger picture charts, the trend lines I drew, we've not had SPX and IWM reach them yet, I think. But we have had Dow and QQQ. So I'm thinking this is what I would describe as a fail anytime area, but I'm still leaning towards going a little higher, and I'm thinking where the obvious target to get to on SPX is the 200 DMA. In the meantime, we don't have any negative divergence here, and if we're going to get any daily sell signals, we're going to need a significant retracement the last since to an end of the day, and make some mark into the end of the day, and then a retest from there. So I'm hoping that we're going to see that. So ES gone a bit higher. New week pivot at 56.29. NQ again went higher on Friday. RTY went higher on Friday, and YM. We've now got decent looking bear flags across the board. They're not as nice as they will be if they go a bit higher, but they're not bad. Pretty decent. We just got no negative divergence to go with it, apart from on DAX and the STX, where we've now got 60-minute sell signals, which are fixed. So DAX is pretty close to a retest of the high now, and I'm leaning towards seeing that retest of the high, because I think we're close enough now that it's a very, very strong target, and because SPX and IWM haven't made their obvious trend lines yet. All right, let's have a look at the bigger picture charts. And all right, on SPX, I think the obvious target now is the 200 DMA. I've got that at 746, and if you look at the SPX chart, I've got this trend line here up and about currently the 57.25 area and rising, of course. So if we reach it in a couple of days, we can actually reach those two levels together. No divergence on the hourly chart. On the hourly chart, but we've got on the except for on the on the RSI 5, we've got possible RSI 5 sell signals brewing on all of SPX, the Qs, and Dia. Right, on the Qs, we're testing the 200 DMA already. Already reached this flag, and the trend line I drew in on the 17th, and we're overthrowing it slightly. SPX is still a little short. Dia has reached it and is overthrowing it slightly. IWM is right. IWM, we clearly got over this this trend line, which I was thinking of might hold, and we are bulldozing up. So I'm thinking we've got a decent chance of reaching this trend line here, and I've got that currently in the 203 area. Looking at DAX, we're getting very close to a retest of the all-time high, and I'm leaning towards seeing that at this stage, because unless we're forming a really, really spiky bull flag, I'd normally expect to see that at this stage. On Nikkei, we're over the 50 DMA pretty comfortably, and I'm wondering about the 200 DMA there too, and I've got that in the 38,000 area. Okay, let's have a look at DX. Okay, DX, we have this IHS. We've been kicking around for a couple of days since we broke up from it. We could be forming an alternate IHS, but it wouldn't really be a lot better. I'm sticking with this one for the time being, and I'm still leaning towards this making that target in the 101.75 area. And 6-minute sell signals reached possible near miss target, just waiting for a move. Do we have much support for the dollar going up on this? Not a huge amount, but we've got a matching head and shoulders here on euro. So nice little level top on GBP, which hasn't actually broken down yet. We'll see how that goes. Bigger picture, I think the patterns are not strongly but broadly supportive of the bigger picture trend on dollar still being down. We will see how that goes. On ZB, we have broken down from a head and shoulders, and we haven't invalidated. Right, okay, it's a double bottom, so it won't invalidate. But we've broken the rising support here, and I'm leaning towards a move down to this trend line. This target here down in the 113.20 area. After that, I'm leaning towards it moving towards the lows. I'm not really seeing much reason to think they wouldn't. That is concerning me slightly though, because the there are various things which are in sync with the rally here. This was rally on ZB was one of them, and that looks very much as though it's turned already. CL was another, and we've almost made it back into the retest of this low here at 54.50. In fact, we've really made a new low on the continuous, because when we made this low here, it wasn't front month. So this is an impressive move, and we're very close to a possible channel support, or testing a possible channel support on CL. So if we go any lower here, that breaks, and that really does open the downside. So as it is, this rally has basically gone back to zero already. NG, nice looking little rally here. This could just be a counter trend rally, but I am wondering whether we might be looking at a potential larger move. I've got to say the economic situation with contraction doesn't really favour that. GC, this is the other thing I was thinking. While dollar is going up, which it kind of still is, and while gold was going down, but this channel on gold hasn't delivered. This turned into a falling wedge, and that's broken up. That's actually a pretty decent looking bull flag. I think we might head straight back up into the highs here. So waiting to see how that develops. SI could be a larger head and shoulders forming here, and it would be better than the last one, but I am wondering if this is just a bullish consolidation setting up a retest of this high. On palladium, we've broken over declining resistance. On platinum, looks like a bullish consolidation, I think. This kind of looks like a head and shoulders forming, but actually it's not a decent one. On HG, I think this is a decent looking head and shoulders forming, and my obvious lean would be, given that we're likely going into recession in the US, would be a breakdown here and then a retest of this low at 405. This is another one of the things which I'm looking at with slight concern, because they seem to be turning already. But this hasn't definitively turned down yet. Break down below this head and shoulders support, then obviously that may well have turned already. KC, we've got a nice looking head and shoulders here. We've got a possible weak 60-minute buy signal brewing. This could go either way here, but we've broken down from a head and shoulders with a target in the 345 area. If this rejects and gets over the right shoulder high, I'd be looking for a retest of this high here in the 418 area. All right, SB. SB, we've got possible breakdown here. We've got a weak 60-minute buy signal fix. We could see a bit of a rally here, but really on the bigger picture is dominated by the huge head and shoulders, which is trying to break down here. This could see a lot of downside. I'd be very wary about being long. CC, we broke up from this double bottom, and at the moment we're deciding whether or not this is going to head up towards the target in about the 12,000 area, 11,250 area, I think, or reject back down into this low. On ZW, looks like a little bear flag forming. I'm leaning towards a move down into the 495.5 area for a retest. On corn, this did look like a bull flag initially, but no longer looks like one. This could be heading back down into a retest of this low. On soy, I'm wondering about a head and shoulders forming here, and it wouldn't be a bad one if it turns about now. This could get us back down into about the 1,003 area if it breaks down into lovers. On CT, I'm leaning towards seeing a retest of this high. We'll see how that goes. On lumber, lumber is heading down towards the next target, which would be a retest in about the probably about 560 area. I don't know. My lumber charts are a little bit of a mess at the moment, and I'm not using the same one here. I'm going to see if I can marry those up over the next week or two. But I am expecting to see more downside. Live cattle, possible little double top here, but not much reason to think it will deliver. I'm leaning towards this going higher. And lean hogs, I think this double top is probably rejecting back up into the high, but we could still head down into the target area, which would be in the 95 to 95.5 area. All right, great. Let's have a look at questions, of which we have none at the moment. Okay, I'm leaning towards seeing, we've got the possibility here on equities of forming some really nice sell signals on the RSI 5s. We would need to see a retracement here. We would need to see a retest. That would probably take much of this week, and that's what I'm leaning towards seeing. But we don't have to see that. We haven't made the target trend line on SPX yet quite, and we haven't made it on IWM quite. But it wouldn't astonish me to see this fail here. I'm just thinking it's likely got a bit higher, and we could see some decent looking negative divergence. set up while we do that. So I'm leaning initially towards seeing maybe a little more upside, but then some downside that registers on the daily chart, and then a retest which could set up some daily negative diversions. And that's what I'm leaning towards. Could we just continue up? Yes, although I've got to say the economic background and the political background doesn't look particularly favourable to that, but it's always a possibility. But at the moment, the flags have been forming nicely, and I'm moving towards bear flags here. We'll see how it goes. All right, great. Well, my pleasure as always, and everyone take care, and I'll see you tomorrow morning.